Welcome, everybody. I am here with Ross Williams, and he is an amazing entrepreneur in the local marketing space as well as in the entrepreneurial space. So, when I met Ross, it was recently at Funnel Hacking Live. He was getting his 2 Comma Club award, I was getting mine. We really hit it off, and I loved learning about his business. So, I'm so excited to welcome him and really hear how his business got started, some of the really cool things that he's doing in the local marketing space, and how his business has progressed over the years. So welcome, Ross. Thanks so much for coming.
Hey there. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So the first thing I'd love to hear is a little bit more about your background. How did you get to the place that you are at today? And I guess we can kind of start talking about how that first event business got started. So yeah, take it away.
Yeah, it actually kind of started on accident. I was in outside sales and I had the company I was with actually decided to go distribution instead of direct. So they were changing their whole structure. So I had to leave that company and start up with a brand new company. And in the process, I took about a $12,000 pay cut when changing this job. And it dawned on me, I either need to stop going out on the weekends or find a way to make an extra $1,000 a month. So it kind of got my wheels turning. I happened to have a birthday coming up, so I threw myself my birthday was on a Sunday, so I did a birthday Sunday brunch crawl for me and my friends, and I went out to all the different bars and I kind of negotiated a deal where all my friends could get one drink free. I had my roommate work the front door and kind of check everybody in, and I had lanyards made with a little graphic design in it and drink tickets inside the lanyard. And so she checked everyone in and gave everyone their lanyards. And we had about 30 people. It was a fun event. And we, bounced around. We spent like an hour and a half at each venue and had like an appetizer or brunch and a mimosa or Bloody Mary and had a great time. And it was a really cool event for my birthday. And that's really all it was meant to be. It was just an event for my birthday. And, when I went back the next week, the owner of one of the venues, which was a brand new venue at the time, said, I've been in the business 20 years. That was the most organized event I've ever seen. All your people were cute and they all spent money. How do we do this again? And I'm like, oh, wow. So like, I need to make an extra grand a month anyways to replace the income I lost. Let's kind of come up with something. And we came up with the idea. Originally, I was going to promote his football tailgate parties on Saturdays for college football season because that was coming up soon. And so basically we put together this event. I got cornhole boards, beer pong tables, and I started marketing it on Facebook. But back then there was no ads. It was all organic. And we just started pumping it out and inviting everyone organically. And it became the hottest spot in, all of Orlando to go watch football. And the Saturday spilled over to the Sunday. And people were coming literally at like 10 a.m., eating brunch, having beer, eating lunch, having more beer, eating dinner, having more beer. They'd leave at like 11. They were there for like 12 hours. It was crazy. And the place was just packed all day long, full of energy. And it kind of launched my whole new business.
That's amazing. I mean, that is every restaurant owner or bar owner's dream. And the fact that you were able to make this happen with no real initial intention to go in that direction. That's amazing. I love that this started from your birthday party. That is probably the coolest story ever. I mean, it just goes to show that there's always an opportunity to do something really awesome. And I think it just comes down to what your natural skills are. If this was such an organized event and you were just doing it not even to make money, just to have a fun birthday,
it was totally free birthday party, just, and I got everybody 4 free drinks.
Which is amazing. I mean, obviously, negotiation is a great skill of yours, organizing, planning, and kind of, seeing the opportunity in things that others may not see an opportunity in. So I think that is so cool. So tell me, like, after you started to kind of make a name for yourself doing these local promotional events, how did things progress? Where did it go from there?
So we started off with the college football tailgate parties, and it was that once football season was over, he's like, well, what else can we do? So we started doing Friday happy hours, and then that kind of grew, and my database kept growing. My followers kept growing, my Facebook kept growing. So we ended up, I kind of transitioned. I started doing one-off events instead of the weekly happy hours. That got a little, after a period of time, I was like, I just want to go home and take a nap. I don't want to go to happy hour. So it kind of,
I can feel that for sure.
Right? So I kind of transitioned. I stopped doing the weekly promotions and started doing events. So I would just come up with a concept in my head, and it was typically something where I go, man, I wish somebody would just do, XYZ, and that would be so much fun. And I would just say, well, why don't I just do it? So, I started planning these. I did a Sunday afternoon pub crawl. I put together an ultimate party cruise that I would, if all my friends went on a cruise together, that would be awesome. What if we just made that happen? And then that grew into a lot of the little cities started asking me, can you help us run block parties? Can we do this? So it grew from promoting a Friday happy hour to doing a quarterly, event, to now doing these annual block parties, which my biggest block party, we just had 10,000 people at it.
That's amazing. I mean, those things are so much fun, and it's something that everyone loves to do, but it is a lot of work. So if you don't have someone to help organize that, it's most likely never going to happen. So I'm just super excited by what you've done, honestly, because it does sound like so much fun. And it is something that you got into because you really enjoyed doing that type of thing. And I feel like it's so easy to kind of get sucked into things in business that it loses the fun a little bit. But you've kind of made this your mission. You've turned having fun and getting together with friends and making connections into a way to grow a business, which is just really amazing. So of all the events that you've done, what tends to be your favorite or your most profitable?
So my favorite is my annual cruise. The most profitable is my New Year's Eve. So it's interesting you said make connections, because really what happened, I actually at a certain point in time, my job took off. So I actually tried to stop doing the events, and people were like sending me like hate messages, like, why didn't you invite me to your party? Why didn't you invite me to this event? I was like, well, I wasn't going to have it. But so then I was like, I guess I'll still have it. So I started putting them together, and they kept growing. And I discovered it was about the friendships more than anything for me, right? So people were coming up to me and thanking me, like, I just moved here from Michigan. I didn't know anybody. I saw your ad on Facebook. My entire circle of friends stems from that ad I saw on Facebook, which is crazy to think.
That is amazing. I love that so much, because seriously, there is such a way to make an impact in people's lives in any business that you're running, but really through social media. The fact that you're able to provide people with a support system in a brand new place, I mean, that's no small feat. Like, that's amazing. And I feel like just the community involvement and the togetherness that I'm sure it brings to a lot of the places that are doing events like this, I'm sure that the ripple effects are probably a lot greater than even I mean, getting other people together who create businesses, who create friendships. People have probably met and gotten married from these events, and it's like, that's really all because of you. So gosh, that's amazing.
You mentioned marriage. I have had 6 people get engaged on my cruises. And I was asked last year to actually marry someone on my cruise.
That's hilarious. I love it though. I mean, obviously people are into it. The market has told you that this is what they want. I mean, you tried to stop it and they basically wouldn't let you. And then being able to continue to grow those things and make people feel like this is, something that they have to be on or that they have to do if they really want to have the experience and not miss out on those things that are going on locally. So I think that's awesome. So I guess the question is, what has your strategy been to grow these events in the local area? I know you talked about doing organic Facebook and then eventually running ads. Has that been the core of what you've done? Or, tell me a little bit about the marketing strategy there.
So originally, yes, it was organic. There was no Facebook ads. It was, just get people to come and invite their friends. And then as the Facebook ad kind of stomped on the organic methods, you had to start running ads. So the whole thing here is to create a community and tribe that just talk about it constantly. So for instance, you asked me what my favorite event was. My ultimate party cruise, we've done, I think this year might be 10 years. The reason why I love it so much is it's a smaller event, as like New Year's is 10,000 people, but My cruise is the biggest one, I think, was 400. So it's usually between 200 and 400 people. But the intimacy and the friend connection when you spend 4 to 5 days with somebody and you get to see them not just for 2 hours at a party, but you really, breakfast, you have lunch, you have dinner, you go out at night, you go swim in the pool. So the friendships that really come out of that are huge. So what happens is they get off that cruise ship and they go tell everybody. So that's the whole thing. If you provide them a wonderful event, a wonderful experience, they're going to tell everybody and invite their other friends. So that's huge. And then also in event marketing, it's people, unfortunately, wait till the last minute. So you have to stay in touch with them, and it's retargeting becomes 90% of your success is retargeting people, staying in front of them, reminding them to sign up, reminding them to get their tickets, just strategizing with strategic price increases, launches, promos, things like that to get them in. But you just have to stay in front of them because I found about 80% of people literally wait till the last minute to sign up for events.
So you really said so many valuable things just there. I think one of the things that stands out the most is talking about creating that loyal, excited tribe in your local community. I feel like this is a fairly big misconception that a lot of local business owners have, is that they can't really create that local tribe. Maybe some of them feel that they can, but I've talked to many that kind of feel like that's only an online business thing or a national business thing. But there are plenty of people in every local area that will support your business, that will support your mission, and that will support your brand. You simply have to get it out there to them. And then the second thing, the power of providing an amazing experience. People do talk about what they're doing on weeknights, what they're doing on weekends, the places that they go. So I help my clients with events. It's in a totally different way. These are usually like free educational seminars that ultimately, drive sales for them. But it's very similar. If you can really make this something that is valuable and that people really enjoy, the word of mouth factor is absolutely there. And it's free marketing. And it's also the best type of marketing. And then finally, staying in touch with people, making sure that you don't assume that just because somebody did not purchase their ticket the first or second time that they saw your ad, that they're not interested. You know probably better than anyone the way that human beings make decisions, especially decisions about where they spend their time. I think that's so important because too many local business owners and even local marketers, they're not doing enough retargeting, if they're doing any at all. And they essentially kind of give up on their leads way too soon. Yep. They assume that if the sale doesn't happen early on, that person is simply not interested. They're not building out these campaigns that follow them the entire length of that buying cycle. They're not staying in touch with them personally, and they're not doing anything like what you talked about, having these strategic promos or price increases or things that are going to drive a sense of urgency. They're just kind of saying, well, if they didn't buy, I guess they're not going to buy. Yep. And I personally think that's one of the biggest things really in any industry that is losing money for people on a regular basis. And it's not that they're not getting leads, it's that they're not maximizing the leads that they already have or the audience that they've already built. So I think that's totally awesome. You definitely have the right outlook, and I'm sure you've just kind of learned everything over time and just observed what's happening and implemented something that's going to make it a lot better. So in terms of those pricing and promo options that you've been doing, can you tell me kind of about the evolution of what you started with, anything you noticed, and things that maybe you changed or implemented over time to really get people excited or drive that sense of urgency a little bit more?
Yeah. And I kind of want to touch on, think of yourself as a consumer, if you're a business owner or whatever. How many times have you wanted to go to a concert or to some festival and all of a sudden you're sitting at home and you see it on your social media and you're like, oh man, I totally forgot about that. Mm-hmm. Had they been retargeting you properly, you wouldn't have forgotten about that festival or that concert or that event or that, networking party or whatever it is. So that's where it's really, really crucial to do that. And what I've done over time, and again, I didn't used to do price increases. It used to be, okay, here's the price. I didn't even know what a pixel was for a long time. So there was no retargeting back in the beginning. But so what I've learned is you have to strategically raise your prices. So it depends on what kind of event. So I mean, we could talk for hours about how to do that, but it depends on, is it a business event? Are they traveling? Is it local? Is it a one-off event on a weekend? Is it a special event that you do annually? So all those things change the strategy of how to increase prices. But to generalize that, whenever possible, I typically like to do a minimum of 3 prices. You know, your early bird, your normal price, and your at the door, your late people that are buying the day of, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at a minimum, I like to do those 3 prices, depending on the size and how many times that event is performed would depend on how far out or close in we would do the price increases and how we would do that. But minimum of 3. If it's a massive event, sometimes I really like to do something that scares me every time I do it. It always helps. I will give away 100 free tickets. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm giving away 100 free tickets. I'm gonna lose all this money. But what happens is then you have 100 little mini promoters telling everybody that they're gonna go to this event. So it's like, I give them away for free, but they're going to go tell, each of them tells 10 of their friends. Now that's, you know, that many more people that are coming to the event. So, and then those people will tell theirs. So it's always good to get the ball rolling and to create that energy in the beginning. And if your event is not limited in seats, now you can't do that if you can only seat 100 people. But if your event is not as limited in seats, I always think a really early giveaway, not, you know, you don't want to do it as you're pushing close to the event when you need to be selling tickets,
Mm-hmm.
but really get that ball rolling super early. That's always a strategy I use as well. And then the retargeting, you know, you have to retarget instantly, consecutively throughout the whole process. And you have to scale your retargeting. So 80% of the, almost to a point that it kind of scares you, but so, as people buy tickets, you know, you get this little wave, and then 80% of the people buy tickets in the last 3 days, typically.
Mm-hmm.
So your retargeting ads also need to scale at the same rate that people are buying tickets. So you have to kind of, you know, as you get closer every week to your event, you got to double down on the ads, double down on the ads, to really get people coming and going. And your cold ads need to constantly be building that retargeting audience so that it's bigger as well.
You're so right. And that's really exactly what we teach or what we do for our clients is showcasing the power of a warm audience. So the first time people see you, they may not know anything about you. They may not know people that have gone to your parties in the past or people who've bought your products and services. You know, they're seeing you, they're getting an impression, but the more they do see you, the more they feel that energy and see that other user generated content, the more comfortable they are with you already. And building that large retargeting audience is so crucial. It's where your best leads and your best customers are going to come from. It's where the lowest cost leads and customers are going to come from. So it's exactly, you know, following really all of the other principles that we see with completely different types of local businesses. But obviously it's the same strategy within this event type of promotion. Mm-hmm. So in terms of these tickets that you're giving away, are these given to very strategic individuals, or is it kind of like a contest where you're just giving them out, or first come, first serve? How is that working?
I've done all of those. It depends on the event. If it's a more intimate event, I will be strategic on who I invite, and I will invite, you know, influencers or Pied Pipers, you know, mm-hmm. that I know
have a large group of friends or associates
that would like to attend as well. So that's one strategy. On the big events where I'm just giving away like 100 free tickets, it's first come, first serve. And I blast it because I want everyone sharing and talking about it and calling. Yeah. I want this tickets gone in under 24 hours. Like,
yeah, gone. I think that's an awesome idea.
So that's one strategy where it is first come, first serve. But a little secret, I do post it on my friend page about 12 hours before I send out the massive email blast. So if you're personally connected to me and I do a post like that, get your ticket right away because I'm about to send out an email blast to my entire audience. So I do give my friends a head start, but it's first come, first serve. So that's one method. The other one is your Pied Piper influencer method, where you might hook up some freebies to some people that you know are going to share the word. And then there may be other instances where strategies where you might strategically like hand it out to different groups or organizations or things like that.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. And that's something else that we get asked about quite a bit, I would say, in terms of a local audience is there a way for businesses to leverage influencer marketing that are local? And I think it's a yes and no answer. You know, the yes answer, sometimes it does depend on the type of business that you have, but I think you shouldn't be looking for these massive like Instagram models or these YouTube celebrities because their audience is not going to be your local market. So it's really not going to help you very much. But if you can get connected with simply influential people in your area, they may not be the mayor or the governor or the coach of the college basketball team, but there are a lot of people in every local community that have a large group of friends that do make a point to really put themselves out there. And that's all you really need. Sometimes it's a very small influencer type of audience. I mean, if you were a restaurant or a smoothie shop or something like that, I mean, that's a great opportunity to have somebody that's simply seen consuming your products, and it feels very natural. Sometimes if you have maybe a one-time purchase type of option, it's not really going to be the best idea, but that's okay. Not every marketing strategy is going to be for every local business,
Well,
but I think that's so exciting.
If they just think about who is that person that they see who has 60 people show up to their birthday dinner, right? Who is that person who every time they're like, let's go over here and do this on Saturday, that all their friends come with them. Now, you know, that person's not getting paid to bring 30 people to that restaurant or 60 people to this kayaking thing or to whatever. But if you're, you know, what if you're a rock climbing gym or you're a restaurant or you're a bar or you're a, you do yoga events or whatever, there's going to be somebody who can literally say, hey guys, I'm going to go to this yoga event on the weekend. Do you want to come with me? And 30 people will come with them. And that's way cheaper advertising to hook up that one person who will just bring all their friends, right? And that, because it's just, there are those people who in every circle of friends, there's usually one or two or three people that are the leaders, right? They're the pipe. They're the one, everyone else is like, what are we doing this weekend? And then John's like, we're going to go to the Tater Tot Festival, right? And John's got 60 people going to the Tater Tot Festival now. Well, you need to be, you as a business owner, you need to find the Johns and the Amandas that are bringing 20, 30 people with them wherever they go. And those are the same people. If you're, you know, car wash or dentist, it's the same John and the same Amanda. Oh my God, I got my car wash here posted on Facebook. They're going to have the same influence on their social media that they do in real life. So it really works for every local business. And like you said, these aren't people with hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. They're people who actually can move 50 to 100 people to do something, right? So that is so powerful in a local market for marketing.
You are so right. I mean, this is awesome content right here because it is a challenge for businesses to sometimes find those people, or at least they feel like it is. But all it takes is keeping your eyes open, looking at your own social media networks and seeing those people, exactly like what you said. If you see that huge birthday group, that's a great indication. When you see people that are just surrounded by people in real life out in their community all the time, that's exactly what you should be looking for. And you're right, simply making that deal or that connection with that person who has a larger circle of influence than your average Joe, that's really going to be everything you need. And I think kind of bringing it back to the whole event side, almost every local business can do some type of event. You know, the same way that this is what you built your business on, the same way that I've helped people do educational seminars, really any type of local business could find a way to make this work. Whether it's doing demonstrations, whether it's doing free classes, whether it's having, you know, handmade crafts and things like that in a shoppable location. I definitely encourage people to try and tie it back to what they sell so that the people that are coming are the right fit for what they're doing. But there are those opportunities, and the same way they would want to partner with those, locally influential people, they can also partner with other businesses that have that cool factor or that loyal audience that's just going to allow you to grow your name by leveraging what other people have already built.
Yeah, we used to do that. I worked in the salon industry for quite some while in outside sales, and we used to do inside the salons. We would do fashion shows. We would do how to blow dry your hair parties. We would do just cocktail hours. We would do like all sorts of just crazy events in the salon, and they would partner. Like a lot of them are in strip centers, right? So they would get different. Like there's a boutique next door with clothing. There's a restaurant on the other side, and then there's a salon. So the restaurant's putting in appetizers and drinks, and then maybe the clothing boutique's providing the fashion, and then the salon's doing the hair and makeup, and then there's a DJ that comes in, and these 4 or 5 businesses come together to put on this event, and they're pulling in like 200 people into their local business on a Wednesday night, right? Like then now those 200 people get to see the community, and they get involved, and they're going to post on social media, I'm at this fashion show at this business, and look at the clothes from here and there. And it goes gangbusters. And then they all go tell their friends. If those 200 people each get one person back, now you're 400 people that are in your business that weren't before. So that's, it's huge. And you can do it, like you said, in any business. I've seen people do real estates. I have a orthodontist friend that used to do tapas parties quarterly, and he would close down his office, and he'd have like 150 people in there. Just everyone would bring a bottle of wine and appetizer and share. But now all these people know about his business and where it's at and how. And it literally, in that case, was just a bring your own tapas and bottle of wine, share, and meet people. And he would do it quarterly, and it was awesome. So there's a ton of ways you can tie events into any local business.
And I think that you've really kind of tapped into something that's very important in terms of just human nature. And that's the fact that we want to connect with people. There are so many people, people like myself. I work so heavily online. I crave additional real life human interaction. If it's an event that looks like a good time, it's not going to take much for me to say, hey, I definitely want to check that out. I think just being able to give people the same way that you were able to give people their entire circle of friends that moved from a different state, people who already live in the community, some of them, work night shift, so they don't see a lot of people during the day. Or some people are just really busy with their life, their work, their family, and the social aspect tends to be one of those first things that gets put on the back burner. So if you can be the reason to encourage people to bring that back in their life, I think it makes what you're doing so much more exciting, but it's also giving people something that they really need and crave. And it's going to establish those, great feelings towards your business, whether or not it has anything to do with your actual business or not. So I think it's just an awesome way to give people what they want, give your business what it needs, which is more exposure, hopefully more people in your location that are ready to see what you have to offer, hopefully purchase from you. But I also think that it's a creative way to market. And a lot of businesses are not doing this, and they would never even consider doing this. And that's what's funny is because this is something that we focus on in the agency, I talk to a lot of people about it. There is, a decent amount of pushback in terms of how difficult is this going to be? Or, do I have to talk in front of people? And I think a lot of businesses just tend to second guess themselves. And yeah, you do need a system, and you do need the steps that are involved and someone to kind of guide you. But you also can figure it out yourself, because that's what I did when I was working for a local business as their marketing director. We wanted to host events. I hadn't done local events, but I figured it out and I made it happen. And it was huge for that business. So I think sometimes it just takes like going out on a limb and trying something new and feeling confident that you're going to get a return, whether you see it that day or whether you see it over the next couple of months. It's never a bad idea to build your name and your brand in your community. So I think you've really kind of tapped into like this incredible market, and it's awesome.
Well, here's what's really cool is 2 of the things that you said there. One is you said you're an entrepreneur, you work alone behind your laptop. which is why I created my entrepreneur networking events I do monthly. And the whole goal is to get entrepreneurs and digital marketers out from behind their laptops and connecting in person. And I do it in a fun way where they get actually 2 free drinks. I bring in a guest speaker. So we like just hang out and chill for like 2 hours, just talking. We get a 20-minute educational presentation. We go back to having cocktails and talking and hanging out, which is really fun. So what I did was I basically discovered this need where people were not getting this personal connections in the solo entrepreneur world, right? And then I put together this event, and I strategically made my networking event different than anybody else. I don't have tables wrapped around the room. People aren't shoving business cards in your face. They're not trying to sell you anything, which goes to step 2 of what you just said, that people are worried about, are they going to make a sale, right? So I tell people at my networking parties, and I usually say this every month, I said, networking isn't about making a sale. It's about making a connection. And I know that sounds crazy to people because business is about making sales, but a lot of times people go to a networking party with business card forward, and the second they realize that person's not their avatar or their potential client, they're done with the conversation, they walk away. But what happens at my events and what I teach people is that if they make personal connections, they may not be clients for each other, but they might share an idea with each other that will help each other grow exponentially within their own business. And by becoming friends, this guy who probably isn't your right client might have 30 other people that are in his network. And if you just were like, oh, he's not going to buy from me, and you walk away from that relationship and you never create that relationship, you're going to lose his entire circle of influence and referrals that could be flowing into your business if you just had a simple conversation and hello when you weren't trying to push a sale on the person.
You're so right. So I'm actually the president of a BNI group, and I do love networking, but it is definitely much more structured, like much more, focused on helping each other, which I think part of that is great. Maybe because it's a kind of a closed group. We do have relationships with each other. But what we see a lot of times is when people do come in that are just visiting or come with other people, they haven't been taught how to properly network. They are either very standoffish and they're too scared to even go up and talk to someone, which is the entire reason everyone's there. So there's no fear involved, or there shouldn't be, or they are only focused on making that sale. But I mean, I can't tell you how many amazing things in my life have resulted strictly based on making a connection without expecting something in return. And some of the biggest game changers for me have been with people in a similar industry that do a similar thing. And there are segments of their market that I can potentially serve, but a lot of times, it's the power of being associated with certain people who do have a larger network. Just like you said, being exposed to that network, even if they will never be a potential client, and partnership opportunities. I mean, I have an idea right now that I would love to find a partner for, and I don't know who that person is going to be, but I'm definitely open to finding out. And I feel like by just interacting with people and talking to people, as long as you have these ideas in your head already of who could be a good referral partner for me, who could be someone that could just be a brand advocate in the community for me. And then who could also, like you said, have ideas that help me grow. We could have nothing in common, no potential clients in common, no partnership opportunities. But anyone in business, especially, and even people that are not in business, they have different experiences from you, and they're going to be able to provide insights that could dramatically change the way that you do things. And all it takes is that real genuine connection. So I think this is awesome that you're able to facilitate that, but that you're also able to make a great living and that you've built a great business simply by doing this. And I really think that it goes to show local businesses all over the country or the world that this can be a marketing strategy for them too, that this is something that is very doable in the local market, that there are enough people that will consistently show up for you if you're really going to show up for them. So I think it's amazing.
Absolutely.
So of everything you've done since you started this business, what do you feel like has been your biggest takeaway from it, or that you feel like other business owners, either in the local space or people that are doing events, could really do better or learn to grow their own businesses?
So one of the big things is you really have to always evolve, and know it's never going to be perfect, ever. So every time I do an event, I have an eye where I'm constantly watching everything. I'm looking for mistakes. I'm looking for problems. And actually this year, as some of my events got bigger, I hired people and they're like, what's my job? I said, your job is to go find problems. Like literally.
That's actually a great job. Most businesses should have that.
And they didn't quite get it at first. I go, find things that are broken and fix them. Like that's your job. Literally, I mean, especially when I'm doing a huge event with 10,000 people, like and you're talking 2.5 city blocks, I can only cover so much square footage at a time, but find things that are broken and fix them. Make notes of things that need to be changes. Some things can be fixed on the fly. There are times I've had people event and said where I knew like there was just hiccup after hiccup after hiccup, and there was just the things were not working right, and customers came up to me and said, this was the most amazing event ever. But it was because I was fixing things so fast, nobody knew anything was broken, right? And with events, as live events, that's going to happen. You're going to forget something. Technology's not going to work right. Your DJ's not going to show up. You're not going to have a key to the bathroom. There's going to be something, like there's always something, and you got to make notes, fix it, and prepare for the next one, so the next one can be better, right? And then the next one's still not going to be perfect. You're going to find things to tweak it, make it better. And then the next one will be better, but it'll never be perfect. So you're going to do the same thing over and over again. And a lot of us, especially as entrepreneurs, we like to just try to make everything perfect and then do it. And and I don't care if it's events or a product or a course, just launch, just do it, make tweaks and turns and twists as you go. Always look for problems and create solutions and make it better for the next run. And if you do that over and over and over and over again, you're always going to just keep looking better. The consumers don't see these little details that we do, right? So we just have to keep making their experience better overall.
I think that's amazing advice. And you're so right. It applies to all of us, no matter what we're doing. We've got to get out of our own way sometime to just do it and worry about fixing those problems later. Like you said, as soon as possible. Most of the time, no one but us is even going to notice. So thank you so much for sharing all of this with me. I feel like it's going to be able to help so many people regardless of the industry that they're in. And again, I'm just super impressed by what you do. And I think it sounds like a ton of fun, to be honest. So way to create this amazing, exciting business for yourself.
And you'll get to see on the cruise this year.
I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. So tell them a little bit about this cruise.
Yeah. So as you guys have just heard, I've done these, what I call consumer events for many, many, many years, and including an ultimate party cruise. Well, as I've evolved into this entrepreneur world, I have this passion for entrepreneurship and these connections with entrepreneurs that I always say, me and my friends talk marketing like your friends talk football. So what I want to do is get all those people who like to talk marketing in one place. And I do my monthly networking events, but I do an annual cruise where we bring about a dozen guest speakers on board. We do 3 to 4 hours a day of masterminding, but we do, 4 hours a day of excursions where we'll go get in cabanas and just pick each other's brains. We'll go out on a sailboat. We'll go snorkeling. We have dinner where you get to sit at a table with a different speaker every night and connect with them. And then afterwards we do networking things and karaoke and stuff. So by the end of this cruise, you've bonded with these entrepreneurs in a way that a business card or a Facebook connection never could. Like you have a friendship where if you're struggling with something, you can reach out to people and ask, questions. You can share ideas. You can help each other grow. I've seen partnerships happen. I've seen new businesses launch. I've seen people just scale from one level to the next. And it's all through the connections and knowledge put together. And then I tie it in with a vacation to keep it fun and energetic and exciting.
And I think that it's just kind of the epitome of what you're already doing, and you're bringing it to entrepreneurs on a bigger scale, because that is I wouldn't say the problem necessarily, but going to conferences and things like that, it can take a lot out of you, and it can not take the fun away, but sometimes you leave drained. And I think that's what you're trying to overcome, is giving people this amazing information, giving them the opportunities to build incredible relationships, but also remind them that we're here to enjoy the success that we found and to enjoy each other and to smile and have a great time at the same time. So I am so excited to be one of your speakers on the Modern Profits Cruise this year. And we're absolutely going to put the details in the show notes for everyone to check out. Hopefully you will take a look and join us, because it's going to be amazing. And I just want to thank you again for coming on. I have so greatly enjoyed it. And obviously we'll be talking again very soon. But I'm just excited to kind of see what you do next, and also see how you continue to grow this Modern Profits Cruise, and if those events expand the same way your other business has.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you for having me today. I really loved it.